Setting up this live stream is the worst part of the day. I'm using this program OBS, and for some reason, by the time it syncs to the window I want to show, it takes forever in a day. I have to start, stop, start, stop. It's not very user friendly. All right, waiting for a few people to join, and we'll be talking about what is going on. All right, so let's get started. It's now 2:22 in the afternoon, Monday. Head and shoulders inverse, breakout, and the target somewhere around all-time highs. And basically, the way that works is you take the height from the head to the neckline and project it out, and that will give you your uh, target to to finish this head and shoulders pattern. All right. Straight shot. This is exactly what I was talking about on Friday, that you want a nice thrust up move, convincing breakout, uh, no consolidation anymore because we had it so many times before. We tested it so many times before. One, two, three, four. You can call this five, six. It's actually the seventh if you count this one, and off it goes. Right? So it doesn't need much more consolidation than this pattern here. Friday, we had this uh, uh, consolidation here. The high base broke out and then just never looked back. So what do we have now? Well, on the small time frame, we have an erection, right, where it goes vertical, right? Just keeps accelerating. FOMO, fear of missing out, and uh, we are now setting up on a bigger time frame for that M pattern. That famous M pattern we've been talking about forever and a day. What's the M pattern? M pattern is when the markets do this. Okay? This at tops signals a reversal. And you can see that for the new guys, you can see that in many, many, many charts. And where's oil? It's going to show it real quick. Okay. This is a funky one, but nonetheless, good enough for government work, as they say. Right? Up and then down. Let's go take a look at Bitcoin. Up, down, right? Fell apart. These are the M patterns that we're talking about, and we call it M because it's coming from the from the bottom up, right? Looks like an M. All right. So that's what we're basically looking at now. So let's go through everything. Equal weighted uh, S&P, previous highs, still not at all-time highs. Dividends, okay, broke out, broke down, broke up, still below all-time highs. VIX collapsing, and we didn't like that on Friday, right? Fell back into structure. You had a structure above a structure, broke out, failed, and then everything just collapsed. Um, New York Stock Exchange, okay, previous highs, Dow Jones going towards that previous high, but remember, all-time highs all the way back here. It didn't even come close um, to breaking out yet. Yet, keyword, yet. S&P 500 broke out, okay. This is incredibly bullish, right? Because it's got a structure that should reverse and instead continues on higher. Obviously, this is a particle market. What is a particle market? A particle market is a market that goes straight up, right? There's no waves, there's no nothing to count. Nasdaq we looked at. Let's talk about small caps. Okay, there's the all-time high going to the top of the channel. All right, broke out of this one and then just took off. Let's take a look at the FANGs, the market leaders. We said the market cannot go up without the market leaders, right? That there were some funky things going on with utilities and energy going up and the FANGs were not. Well, this again, we have incredibly bullish, going towards that all-time high again. Transportations grinding higher within this bear flag. Nope, that's not what I want to see. All right, World Stock Market Index, all-time highs, just about, right? This is the previous high. Again, particle market breaking out, airlines breaking out of this uh, bear flag. China broke out, okay? Consolidation, high base, broke out. Wedgy looking, which I don't like, but and the reason I don't like them is often what they'll do is they'll break out, break down, and then do whatever they got to do. So, but the rest, again, it's the message of the markets that we're looking at, right? What is the entire market telling us? Bull, bull, bull. Based on what? Hopium. On hopes of stimulus. I think Tuesday we said, okay, no more talks. Thursday, talks were back on, and now we are aware that Trump wants a bigger stimulus than the Democrats. uh, right? Right? It should be illegal. It should be illegal. This is all to, you know, fuck with the markets. Because the only thing that matters to these people is are the markets. That's it. Nothing else. They don't give a shit about the everyday person. They don't give a shit about the economy. They don't give a shit about anything. Can they get the market up? Yes. Can they use some words to boost it up? Yes. Okay, everything is fine, my friend. Everything is fine. What's the problem? No problem. Everything is fine. All right, Japan. Okay, near all-time highs. Australia kicking ass. Inverted head and shoulders like the rest of the U.S. markets, breaking up, but still a long way from all-time highs, right? Uh, Nifty 50 broke the previous high. It's in the consolidation um, of the previous high. All right, and North Korea within the base. Again, I expect this one to break out higher. Okay, it's a high base. Broke out of this structure after this move, and we expect it to come at least to the previous high, if not all the way to the top of the channel. Europe, okay, strong move up, breaking out of the rising wedge, which is typically bearish in a wave market, but again, particles doesn't matter. Germany continues to push higher within the bear flag, still structure below structure, okay, but it's testing this right here, okay. If it breaks back into it, then expect a much bigger move higher. All right. Let's see, UK, the top of the channel. Again, this is a bullish setup. If something is pointing, if the structure is pointing down, then expect to move to the upside. And Taiwan broke out. Brazil still within a bear flag. Saudi breaking up incredibly bullish. Bull, bull, bull. And let's take a look at oil. All right. I don't expect oil. Anything in here, I think, is going to be bullish within the structure. So we're coming back down again, but what I think is going to happen is something like this. All right. That's what should happen. Bitcoin. Bull, bull, bull. Right. We said 1, 2, 3. Again, cautious on the wedge. It's holding very, very nicely. This is what it's supposed to do, only because if you look at the bigger structure, all right, the bigger structure, it broke out, had a consolidation, head and shoulders, failed as it should, and then bouncing off this support area and pushing higher. So that's good. Uh, Usually, if you're going to get a reverse, it would have happened already, where you would get the breakout. Let me just kind of zoom in a little bit, where you'll get the breakout and then rapidly reverse. This is not the case in Bitcoin. All right, we have a nice consolidation in here. Broke down, tried to do some fuckery move, and then straight up. All right. Okay, so that's good. So hopefully we can at the very least, test the previous highs, the recent previous highs at 12,463 or whatever it was. Ethereum, right? Try to do a fuckery move to the bottom, popped up, looking good. Litecoin pushing higher. Gold broke out, high base. Look for this to push higher. This is Chinese stuff, don't worry about it. Fear indicator, this is something that I won't go into. Real estate at the top of the structure. Will this break out? We'll see. We'll see. Commodities, a little bit of a pullback. Okay, after breaking out, a little bit of a pullback. I think anything above this structure is bullish. Palladium, right? A little bit of a pullback, still looking good. Copper holding up. Base metals holding up. Agriculture holding up. High base, right? Nothing wrong with a high base, right? Build that pressure and make the next move higher. Precious metals testing this, the bottom of this structure. Okay. Pops back in, expect it to go higher. Commodities overall. Breakout test, and again, this is a breakout test, right? Breakout test and then go. All right. And the reason we say that is because of where it came from, right? It's a move 1. This whole structure is a move 2, and then move 3 to the upside. Sugarcane, a little bit of a pullback. Corn, wheat, and steel. This, again, once you start breaking the bottom and it comes back up to test that structure, likelihood is you're going to get a test, you're going to get a breakout. Okay. Get rid of this. Soybeans, my favorite. Pulling back a little bit from the trend line. I expect this one to break out as well. The dollar. How's the dollar doing? Oh, we're printing more funny money? No problem, my friend. I go down. Right? And we had a bear flag. It did exactly what it's supposed to do, which is push lower. And it does coincide with the macroeconomics. It's that simple. If you print money, it goes down. What else? US dollar Japan, breaking down from this structure. Right, that's from last week. Right, finally broke today. But, how good of a job is it doing falling apart? Eh, not a very good one. But, look at the other structures that it fell apart from, right? There's a lot of fuckery with this. Right? It just comes down in a very not convincing way, It'll suck the life out of you. Uh, Euro USD and the structure. And if you take a look at the bigger structure, there's all these lines, and they get annoying when market starts doing funky things. But this is a structure below a structure, pushing back into the bigger structure, right? This one. Okay, so if they break the bottom and they push back into structure, the bigger structure, then expect to move higher. Again, how good of a job is it doing right now? No, not too good. Not too good. Great Britain Pound, USD, look at that breakout. Incredibly bullish. All right. You can take this to the long side so long as it doesn't come back into structure and start to fail miserably. US dollar Turkish lira continues to devalue. US dollar ruble, let me go to daily. All right. Coming back a little bit. It's going to be interesting when it breaks this structure, this tight, tight, tight. Right. Starts to fall apart. Look for much for the downside for the dollar. USD CAD, look at that. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Boom. Straight down. All right. Does exactly what it was supposed to do. 1, 2, 3 up. Structure's pointing to the upside, and it falls apart. So what's the message of the market? Right? In Forex, dollar weakness. Australian dollar against the dollar. Pulling back a little bit, right? Had a big thrust up, doing this consolidation. Maybe kind of zoom in here a little bit. You see it? It's a bull flag. Right? This should resolve to the upside. All right? And that would be a big break, by the way, huh? Because you're going to be breaking this megaphone. So, New Zealand dollar, same thing. They kind of move together, huh? US dollar won, okay, popping a little bit today, but when you look at it from the bigger picture, the dollar has been devaluing against the renminbi. Aggregate bonds, okay, they fell apart here a little bit from this massive move up. Junk bonds, uh, this is great. Government buying junk bonds. Yes, everything is great, my friend. No problem, no problem. No more junk bonds. We backstop risk. Pushing higher. The 10-year continues to be in this consolidation. Right in here. I hate when the lines move. Right? So 0.77. A little bit of a pop. We'll see what happens. Anything else? The 30-year continues to rise, which means interest rates fall. European banks popping today. XLF popping. KBE is popping. And what else? Biotech pushing to all-time highs. Water. This is the best thing you can buy long term. And 1 second, I'm getting a phone call. I'll be right back.
Mic off. Mic on.
All right, I am sorry, but important phone call. All right, let's go through the fangs, okay? And Facebook is obviously pushing higher. All right, this should have resulted to the downside. Again, you would get this structure, should resolve, breaks down, doesn't do a good job of it, comes back into structure, and this is what I'm saying. If it comes back into structure, and let me just take a moment here just to explain to the new people that typically what happens is you will get a structure below a structure, like here, okay? It breaks down, consolidates, and then resolves to the downside. When it comes back into structure, you got to stop out. And the whole point of everything we do here is about risk rewards, okay? Where do you want to take the best risk reward trades? When, you know, let's say you went short here. Well, you got to stop out here, right? At the open. If it does resolve to the downside, then you're going to get a much bigger chunk of the pie. Doesn't mean that you're going to be right all the time. And no, you won't. It's not the point of this. If you could, then I would be making these videos for my Gulfstream 650. Uh, Nothing in the market is 100%. Okay, but you are looking for those good risk reward setups. Okay, that's the point of this. Um, for me personally, I like the bigger waves. Okay, and I like the waves that go in the direction of the market, right? So if this were, let's say, to start to fall apart, let's say, and it didn't push higher, right? I would look for the bigger wave where it would just start to fall apart, okay? Not this much, but it would do something like that, okay? That's my thing. Now, this smaller time frames is just to show you how waves work. And it could be a 5 second chart, a 5 minute chart, it could be a 30-minute chart, an hour, it doesn't matter. They all work the same. The same rules apply. I prefer the bigger time frames because once you get it, you just sit back, relax, and you'll make a boatload of money without doing a whole hell of a lot. So that's what I prefer. Right? You guys can use it any way you want, but uh, my way, you're not gonna make money every day. Forget about that. And I don't. You're not even gonna make money doing it 5 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever. Okay. I prefer the longer time frames because it's easier for me to find the good risk rewards. Okay. So I only make money a few times a year, and that's normal. That's the way it should be for bigger time frames. All right. Amazon, all-time highs. Apple, breakout. Netflix, breakout. Okay. And again, you see the same structure. It's not, all right, one, two, three, now breaking out. NVIDIA, my favorite, going towards the all-time high. Google, little fuckery move here, right? Little fuckery, and then boom, straight up. But it's in the context of the bigger structure, right? Just channel moving to the upside. Tesla, Tesla, Tesla. All right, pushing higher. Here's, remember, above the trend line, everything is bullish. So right now, it's breaking out. And here's all-time highs, right? So how much money can you make to the top? Well, you make about 14%. That's a lot. Now, charts can be very deceiving, especially when they're long. But this is a nice little move to the upside. Let's take a look at airlines. Delta. Okay. Now remember, somebody mentioned something about airlines. Airlines are very capital intensive. They need a lot of cash to operate, and their margins are very thin. If you're not flying an airplane at 80% capacity, you know, with good uh, ticket prices, forget it, right? You're in trouble. Let me find the be right, TSA. 1 second. All right. So the TSA numbers, we're finally starting to get some resolution to the upside. 900 October 4th, 936, 968, 984. There is a huge improvement as of late when we're going into a slow season, right? In October. Um, but you're getting nice numbers now in air travel. Okay, people are starting to get a little bit more comfortable. So that's a good thing. Um, when they keep telling you, I think in Q2 somebody read it. It says bankruptcy 300 times or something. Yes, they're going to tell you that because they want free government money. Okay, don't read too much into that. Don't read too much into that. And we're talking about the big major airlines here. Okay. Now these guys were whining and crying when Qatar, Emirates, was kicking their butts all over the world, and they were like, "Oh, it's government-funded money. Oh, they're being supported by the government." Well, what are the U.S. airlines doing now? Same thing, right? Airlines are bridges to the world. They're a bridge to the economy. They should be supported by governments. It's not because I'm a pilot. I'm telling you, this is the way it is. It's too capital intensive. Um, you have to keep those bridges open. You can't shut them down. You can't shut down a highway, right? You can't shut down a seaport. You got to keep those bridges open, even during the bad times. So, yeah, don't read too much into it. Are they going to have difficulties? Yes, they are. But don't read that Q2 stuff and read too much into what they're saying, please. All right. This has to either become prolonged and no improvement in the TSA numbers. Okay. That's one reason why I would be worried. Um, two, if they don't have access to lending, that would worry me, right? As long as they can make the next payment, they're happy. Doesn't matter how much debt they have. It doesn't matter what the loads are. Nothing matters. Can you get a loan to pay the next monthly installment? Yes, oh, my friend, you're great. I love you. You're very, very nice. Okay. And three, I would start to get uh, concerned if there is uh, another breakout in the waves where we start shutting borders down all over again, you know, that again goes more like with the prolonged. That would be, I would start to worry then. Okay. American Airlines broke down structure below structure. Not doing a very good job breaking down thus far. Southwest, right? Very strong. These guys have enough. I forgot the number in billions they have cash on hand, but these guys are not going away anywhere. Forget about bankruptcy here. Alaska, looking good. JetBlue. JetBlue has enough cash till June to keep all their staff. So what does that tell you about Delta, right? Spirit, they don't look that good. Allegiant, it's okay. Copa, my most hated company, EasyJet, again, I don't understand why it's so low. I honestly I don't. I think it's very difficult, but I think long term this is a good stock. It hasn't done a whole hell of a lot over the last decade, but once it breaks out here, I would be interested in this. Okay, China Eastern Airlines, they're opening up again. They're hiring pilots. Everything is go. Structure above a structure. Look for this to push up. I should take this arrow down now because it did make the move lower. And that's about it for airlines and the market. All right. So there's the breakout. Oh, somebody asked me about Japan. Let me take this off. It looks like I have Parkinson's. Um, is the U.S. the next Japan? Well, here's my answer. Japan is a world reserve currency. Whether you're in Europe or the US, you may not recognize it, but it is. Okay? It's not the world reserve currency like the US, but it is a world reserve currency. They have not been able to grow their economy for decades, but they are net exporters and they're printing their ass off. But the printing of their assing off is interbanking, right? It's just a bunch of numbers being moved around, which shows the debt to GDP rising. But what about the economic growth? Well, it's not there. So, what about the US? We are the world reserve currency, but we're not exporters. In fact, our imports are hitting almost historic record numbers, right? We're 65 billion per month, I think, last time around. So, look at Italy. I showed Italy today, and it was 155% debt to GDP with an interest rate of 0.75 or something. Unheard of, right? That's crazy. So why is that happening? Well, money chases yield, and if all the yields are being pushed down, right? If you have 5% interest rate and the other one is offering zero, where are you going to go buy the five? Why? Because you know the central bank is going to backstop your risk, so you're going to go buy those bonds. And you're going to push those bonds from 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, 1%, 0. Okay? What does that do for the economy? Nothing. Nothing. Unemployment is still high. Uh, the banks are going to start to suffer. Uh, there's no real economic growth, but it looks good, right? It looks good. So, what have we learned from Japan? That you're not going to get economic growth by printing money. The banks are going to suffer. And they are net exporters, not importers. So that makes a big difference over the course of time. Now, the fact that Italy and Greece and Spain and all these other countries, they're under a union, a currency union, it kind of protects them. So long as Germany is doing okay and France and so forth, they're protected. The U.S., we are the world reserve currency, and eventually we're going to get to negative interest rates here, even though they keep saying, no, we're not. And the outcome is going to be the same, only the currency is going to devalue to a certain point, and then that will be it. Whatever that point is. I don't know what that point is. It will devalue to a certain point. Last time it was 0.77 on the dollar index, and we can look at it. Where is it? There it is. Okay. 0.70. All right. It devalued to some point, and then from that point on, it started to rise. Okay. Uh, the economic growth was very slow. Um, other countries, other currencies had problems, like the EU. Um, so remember, forex is funky because you're relative to something else. So if all the other currencies start to, spit up blood, well, guess what? You start to look good, you look better than them, and it's a ratio, right? So they start to improve over the course of time. But what does it do for the economy? That's the question. It doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. It's just a bunch of numbers that look great. That's it. Um, I think I showed this before, right? Look at that, right? What is the GDP growth as the money supply increased, the deficit's increased? It's going down. So you're getting less and less and less economic growth for every dollar that is printed or created from private banks or whatever. You're not getting economic growth. If you're saying it's stimulus, then $1 that is printed should equal to $1 of GDP minimum, minimum. And instead, you're getting the opposite. You're getting less and less and less and less GDP. So, you know, how much is it going to devalue? I don't know. What, whenever all the other currencies start to behave worse than us, if you look at the broad money, right? The money supply, the broad money. The US on a 12-month basis is next to, and I've talked about this before, but some of the new people may not have seen it. The US is number 13, right? And again, this has not been updated in August, since August. So it's worse since. And now we're going to get another quote unquote stimulus for the people. And this number is going to rise, and we're going to look like freaking Turkey. And Turkey increased their money supply, and this is updated to September, by 43% from last year. It's an enormous, enormous, enormous amount of digits being created. Sudan, 46%, and then you have Argentina, 80%. So we are in a group that's very special. And I'll keep saying this: no economy in the world, no government in the world, I should say, can print value for a currency. You can sit there and print till you're blue in the face. You're not going to create economic growth. All right. Let's talk about trading now. You see this little hook now? This is where people get blown out, especially newbies. Every time it does something like this, oh, this is a short. This is a short. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going to go short. Boom. Okay. Okay. No, 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 no. I'm going to double down. I'm going to double down. It's going to go short. This is going to start to fall. It's too vertical. It's too high. And then it goes up. And then it does this. Oh, no, now I'm going to. Don't do that. Don't do that. Very, very, very bad. No, 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 no. Don't get fooled with these things. All right. This is a particle market. You got to let it do whatever it's going to do. At some point, it's going to create some kind of structure, and then we're going to go from there and find the good risk reward. Okay. Um, yeah, the number one rookie mistake is to try to pick tops in a particle market. Very, very bad. It's hard. I know, because we all like to think that investing is about guessing, but uh, you gotta, you can't be a degenerate gambler. Um, what else? Talked about the fangs. Answer some questions. Anybody else have any questions? And I have to flip back and forth to see if anybody has any questions. Hello, Atom. Hola. Moscow exchange is running out of euros and dollars. Yeah, you know, again, they're funky because they have oil. So Russia, oil is a big deal. Okay, it kind of makes you a little bit better than some other nations. Let's say like Panama. You know, so um, Russia is, they moved away from the dollar, right? And they didn't want to trade in it. They did some funky things, but when it's a government that's trying to create economic growth by stimulating with dollars, you know what the results are. They can't do it. They cannot do it. So the currency suffers as a result. Imagine if Russia didn't have oil, where would the currency be, right? Communism didn't work. Why? Because you pretend to pay us, we pretend to work, there's no economic growth, and everything starts to fall apart, right? So you look at these things long enough, and you just kind of like, yeah, this is fucked. Look at Lebanon. Yes, no problem, no problem. Yes, we will pay. We will change our ways. For sure, we will change our way. Don't worry, my friend. We're going to peg to the dollar. And boom, everything exploded. Hyperinflation. They still peg to the dollar, I think, somehow. I don't know why or how, but they've maintained that peg somehow. I think they're getting help because it's in a very um, weak part of the world, and I don't know. It's a very funky setup. Uh, what else? Let's look at some of the Twitter stuff. See what's going on here. Yeah. So look at this, right? So this is U.S. total debt, and it's above this now. It's 27. Straight up, vertical, right? Where's the economic growth? Where's all the stimulus? Well, non-existent. Let's look at imports. Look at that, right? Almost at 67 billion per month. That's a lot. And this is the dollar one. Okay, but you cannot print, borrow, and import. That's that's what Turkey did, and it didn't work out very well for them, or it's not working out very well for them. All right. So California real estate brokers, salespersons. All right. Nothing there. Renting versus owning by demographics. Uh, what else? Seven high frequency. We don't care about that. Positivity rate. Let's take a look at that. Again, we were showing a little bit of a rise last week, and I was willing to chalk it off to, just flatlining. But now I think it's becoming a little bit more evident that it's rising, right? Now it's more about 6% positivity rate. So that's a problem. Let's talk about this. Somebody posted that the World Health Organization flipped its position and blah, 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 that they shouldn't lock down. Guys, the primary um, strategy when there's a pandemic is to lock down, to try to shut it all down, to minimize that small cluster relative to what it's going to be, that small cluster from infecting many other people in the beginning when it's small. Once it breaks out like wildfire, you can lock down all you want, unless you do it properly and everybody, and do it the way the Chinese did, right? One person designated to leave the house. It can either be a pharmacy or a hospital or a supermarket, right? Unless you do it like that and you do it strictly and you enforce it, you know, to the maximum, then okay, do it. But if you're not going to do it like that, you're going to say, well, I'm going to shut down restaurants and bars at 10 p.m. Because after 10, you're going to get infected. Before 10, it's okay, my friend. No problem. Everything is fine. You see what I'm saying? This is the worst possible way of trying to deal with a virus. You got a president running around. Yeah, yeah, no problem. Everything is fine. Look at me. I'm a perfect specimen. It's insanity, right? It's insanity. So what is that going to do? It's going to make people not wear masks, not social distance, all this crazy stuff. So that's going to create super spreader events like Trump did to the White House and senators and whatever. It's clear. It's black and white. So getting back to the World Health Organization, at this point, lockdown is not the primary method of reducing spread. That's correct. Right? It's not a flip flop. It's logic. It's logic. All right. This is what I wanted to show you. Demographics. Here we should be seeing, it's age 32, 29. Right in here is the biggest demographics in the United States. So these people are going to go out, buy cars, drink at bars, um, make babies, carriages, baby rooms, and so forth. There should be a lot of spending going on. This was the great hope for the United States that we had the good demographics, good education, that everything is going to be great and it's going to boost the economy. And guess what? The pandemic hit, uh, high unemployment, and you can have the best demographics in the world. If people don't have money to go out and spend, then it's not going to happen. So keep this in mind. Here's the boomers, right? They're much smaller portion of the population than the millennials. So, did I say boomers before? I'm sorry if I did. What else? More help from Congress. I mean, look at this. More help from Congress. Says there's a low risk of overdoing it. Okay, so the first $4 trillion in 4 months didn't work. So obviously the answer's got to be like, well, we need more stimulus. Ah, that's painful. That's painful. All right. Global real GDP and employment. Okay. You're seeing that real GDP is bouncing, but employment is not. Okay. So, not good news there. And that's about it for Twitter. Hopes. We have hopes. Hopes of a stimulus. How long have we been saying this? Hopes for a stimulus. It's hopes that Donald Trump will recover from COVID. Hopes from China trade deal. Hopes. It's got nothing to do with hopes. It's got nothing to do with titles. It's got nothing to do with headlines. Call it whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't matter. You print money, it's going to go into the stock market, right? And that's what I show here. And if you haven't seen the videos, you should go see them. Anytime that you're going to deficit spend or banks are going to create more money, that's going to flow through the household income to savings, to profit savings, which is going to end up in the stock market. It's that simple. Don't make it more complicated than that, right? So whenever the market hears more money is coming, more deficits, more stimulus for the people, the market goes straight up, right? And you see it today, right? So has nothing to do with economics. It's not going to stimulate more jobs. It's not going to create more consumption. It's not going to create more production. All it's going to do is boost asset prices. So when everybody's looking around and saying, why is there no inflation? Why? There should be inflation. We're printing all this money. There should be inflation. Yeah, well, the inflation has to stay in the productive economy, right? Right here. It's gotta stay here. If you're just going to pump those dollars, trillions of endless of trillions of dollars to the top 5%, that's out of the economy. Who cares? It's not going to do anything. You don't have access to it. You don't have access to those dollars, right? The top 5% do. And what do they do? Put them underneath their mattress? No, they go out and buy stocks. And that's what you're seeing here. It's night and day. Yet you have these incubator economists running around saying, no, no, it's got nothing to do with liquidity. No, of course not. No, 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 no. It's economic growth. See? V-shaped recovery. V-shape. Okay. V-shape. Call it whatever you want. Look. See? V. V-shape. Drives me crazy. All right, so what's the actual deficit? Let's see. As of Friday, this is the government checkbook. Daily Treasury statement as of October 8th. 3C. Yeah, steady. $27 trillion. All right, so the FANGs are up 4.7%. They were as much as 5% for the day. NASDAQ is 3.4% for the day. And something that I talked about before, when you start getting up to that 2% move up for the day, you're reaching the upper limits of the daily moves. Okay, anything above, you start getting 3%, you are at extreme, rare levels of intraday price appreciation. Okay, um, extreme levels. So let's see how this is going to close out for the day. There's still another 45 minutes to go. But yeah, this is extreme. This is not normal. Let's take a look at the where the money is flowing into today and the past week. Let's do the past 5 days first. All right. So suddenly and magically, uh, money is now flying into technology, up 5.64% for the week, followed by discretionary, uh, consumer discretionary, and utilities number three. Communication services is four. That's odd. Okay. How about for today? 3% communication services, so there was a big move there. And neck and neck with technology and the consumer discretionary. Okay, consumer staples, and the laggard is materials. Yeah, they're taking a breather. So again, it's extreme levels. You start getting this 3%, that's really, really extreme. All right, but please don't try to pick tops. So how far are we from the projected target? Uh, let's see. 2.5%. That's it. Does it have to meet that 7.6%, whatever, to the previous all-time highs? It doesn't have to. Remember, M patterns, they can either reverse just shy of the previous all-time high. So, for example, it reverses here and creates the M pattern at all-time highs or just above all-time highs and then reverse. Okay. These are just rules of thumbs. You don't trade these kind of targets. I have my target, right? All the experts, I have my target, as if they're so fucking precise that they are not only so good in calling the markets, they know exactly where it's going to. Garbage. Garbage, garbage. Don't fall victim to these idiots. They're full of shit. So why do we come up with this kind of rule of thumb? Well, the assumption is that all these people here that were short, they're going to cover. That's okay. I like that idea, right? That you're going to squeeze the shorts. That's fine. But you got to have people that are short. And to do that, you need time. And to put on a short position or any position, for a big, large hedge fund takes 3 months. It takes 3 months. So we've been going down now since September 20th, and now it's October 12th. You think they had enough position to go short? No, not even close. So yeah, that retail investors that sh- went short here, they're not pushing the market up. They're a very small percentage of the daily volume. Speaking of volume, let's take a look at what's going on. Where is it? All right. So since the all-time highs, the point of control is at 11,442. We've broken out, and we said that last week, last Friday, we said that there's so little volume in here that the next likely area is going to be this next pop, okay, in volume. And sure enough, we're getting into that area right now. And I expect this to go higher tomorrow, right? So this is where that likely area where we'll get the next um, consolidation or whatever right in here. All right. So keep that in mind. Likely. I don't have targets. Let's take a look at S&P 500. All right. So since the drop, point of control was 3407. 70% of the volume went off here, and uh, the S&P has gotten a lot closer to that next area right in here, right? A lot closer. And it's bouncing off of that right now. Not too much volume in here, right? So it all kind of makes sense. Right? Again, I would expect this to push higher tomorrow. Don't be expecting 3% moves tomorrow, okay? So let's take a look at the fangs. Unfortunately, this one they want me to pay extra so I can. Again, volume I don't use. Volume profile I don't use that often unless we're at all-time highs or something. Okay, this is the best I can do with the daily charts. Point of control is all the way down here at 53.85, and there's nothing up here. It's just look how thinly traded it's been. Right, very thinly traded. So of course you're going to get a move because there's nobody to oppose you. What else? Anything else? That's about it. This is a minute chart. Even if we were to draw these lines, okay, looks funky. And that's why it's a particle market. There's no waves. There's nothing you can draw here, right? Even if you did this, broke out. Oops, just garbage. And this is Friday, by the way, the high base. All right, okay. Mikey Normal, wouldn't it be better to look at the volume on Key Mini since the yeah, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, that's true. You could. You could. But again, you're just trying to figure out where most of the volume went off, and where the price is likely to go. I don't trade based off of this data. I mean, it just gives me small little pieces of clue where price might go. Um, why don't I go? Why am I not a bull? Well, I have a rule that I don't like to trade against the macros. And the reason I don't is because I don't have that. I don't want to use the word conviction because I don't have conviction about anything. I change my mind 300 times a day. But it's not. Historically, when I went against the macro, I got I gotten burned. So I don't prefer. It's a rule. I don't do it. I shouldn't say I don't do it. I do it occasionally, but just like in a bull market, I'll occasionally, go for the short, right? When nobody's looking, everybody's looking the other way, I'll short and then I'll make my money. Uh, but it's not necessarily because I'm going against the macros. It's just price got ahead of itself based on the macros. So then I would do it. Um, but generally, I don't trade against the macros. Now you can say, well, dollars, being pumped into the economy is macros, and that's true. That is true. But I know that that money is only going to go into the stock market. It's not going to do anything for the real economy. Okay, they can say stimulus for the people until they're blue in their face, but the economy will recover when the economy recovers. All right. Surprisingly, risk on small caps have only gone up 0.6% today, right? And we were kind of bitching, at least I was, that this was popping, and it's like, why is risk on popping? Their PE is like 100 and I don't know what, you know. And now they're lagging for today at least. So, but they are coming up to the resistance area, right? Look at Nasdaq. Where's the resistance area? All-time highs. So it is what it is, right? I should extend this line out. We could make an argument that it's testing the bottom of the previous longer term channel, right? Uh, uh, Mike Norman. Yes, yes. Everybody's short. Yeah. Okay. Well, it takes billions and billions and billions of dollars to go short, and this is not a short squeeze. You gotta you gotta short first. You can't. What does he think that hedge funds are like you and me? We push a button. Oh, I'm short. Oh, now I'm not short. I don't understand him. Yeah, Mike Norman is a gift from God. Just to ex, expect the craziest things from that man. Seriously. Oops. Sorry. I have two browsers open, and they want me to pay extra to go from one browser to the other. No. Again, I'm not a cheap guy. Far from it. I'm the opposite. I'm a spender. But when I see like gay shit like this, like, well, if you want to open up the same chart in a different browser, you gotta pay extra. That stuff drives me crazy. I know they gotta make money and all, but to a point. All right. So we expect tomorrow what? We expect some kind of consolidation, something like this. Okay, a high base. Now, the way the market has been behaving, you know, how good is that expectation? Tomorrow they say no, no trade deal. Dump it. Right? What's that guy called? Dump it. So be careful. I'm not sure what he's doing. I don't know. When you don't show the trades and you saying I'm buying, I'm long, I'm short, then. Yes, everybody's an expert when they're not showing their trades. Believe me, everybody's an expert. Oh, and especially after the market closes and they get the charts out and look at this and look at that and then this means this. Yes, my friend, very good, very nice. Yes, everybody's an expert. After the fact, oof, we got a lot of those experts. Do it in real time. Do it the way I do it. Come down and subscribe, and you're gonna see reality. You know, it's not as easy as it looks, and you're not gonna quit your day job and become a millionaire. Tell your boss to fuck off. Yeah, okay, sure. Yep, that's how it is. But people fall for that stuff, man. It's marketing. They fall for it. Some guy, I was watching some guy who was live streaming. He wasn't showing trades, of course, but um, you can see the tactics, what they do, right? They'll come up with I don't know, 100 charts and talk about them and just go through them really quickly, and just it's like spraying ink, right, from in people's eyes and just confusing them, and make 100 predictions on a chart. And one guy asked a question. I forgot what the question was exactly, but it was a good question. And the live streamer fucking lost it. What kind of question is that? That's a stupid question. Why would you ask that question? And it like goes off on him, and I'm like, what the fuck? uh, yeah. When you get too close to the wound, man, ooh, all these experts start to fall apart. You know, all the experts fall apart. Again, come on down. This is my Patreon page. More than welcome to come and join us. All right, real macroeconomics and investing. Uh, you'll learn more from my mistakes than you will from my gains. Believe me, 'cause that's reality. You got one of his courses, yeah. I actually took one of his courses too. I was like, I'm always open to new ideas. I think it's important to always look at what other people have to say, um, even if you disagree with them, right? Uh, but you gotta be honest. You gotta be legitimate. You gotta. It's okay to think differently than me. I don't. That's good, right? It protects my blind spots. Maybe something I didn't consider, right? Getting a question is the most important aspect to anything in life, right? What's the question? If you find the question, you'll find the answer eventually. But man, when I when I saw his forex, I think it was a forex course. When I saw that, I was like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" I had no clue what he's talking about. I'm looking at him like, "What am I missing here?" it was horrendous. And he was charging, I think, like 250 or something initially, and then he dropped it down to like 50 or something. Yeah, the four, yeah, I don't know about that one, about the 900K or whatever. The look, if it's real, if it's not real, I don't care. It doesn't matter, right? What I care about is when you are saying that you are invested in something and you have an endless amount of money to hold, and you keep doubling down. Remember uh, the dollar short because the interest rates were rising or something, right? That's money printing or whatever, some stupid shit, right? How wrong was that? How wrong was that? And it just kept doubling down. Same thing with the short on the S&P, kept doubling down. It's like, dude, how much money do you have? What do you got a printing press back there? I haven't watched him in, man, over a year. Yeah, that's good. That's good. We need people like that. Seriously, we need people that call out the bullshit. So I think that's the best niche market there is, right? To get to start calling out people on their bullshit, because that's what the world needs. All right. So 25 minutes left in the session. Market continues to pull back, which is normal, right? But this is not something you short. Believe me. Don't fall victim to that bullshit. Don't pick tops like that. This is a particle market. Just go straight up. There's no structure here. There's nothing. You have nothing, right? There's nothing you can chart. And that's why waves and structures are so important, right? You have to have a structure. You have to have the three waves. You have to have the 4 points. You have to see where the risk reward is. You have to, you know, validate it through waves and structures. You can't just willy nilly decide this is too high. Well, I don't know how to explain that to people, but they insist on doing it. Trump says, stock market up another 300 points. Greatest leading indicator of all time, of them all. Don't ruin it with Sleepy Joe. Oh my God. Yeah, don't look at the real economy. Look at the stock market. It's a forward looking indicator. Right. Yep. Because we're all stuffed with fucking trillions of dollars in savings and we're all rich, like MMT says. Yep. Sure. It's the greatest market ever of all time. And it's all due to Trump. Please. Seriously, please. Picked the wrong time to quit smoking. You can't trade uh, under Trump's market. You can't do it because it's all just based on whatever he decides to tweet that day. Does he want the market to go up? He's going to tell you, yes, I want a bigger stimulus deal. He wants the market to go down. He's going to tell you, oh, no more trade deal, no more stimulus deal, no more whatever deal. That is not something that's repeatable, right? So it's garbage. It's garbage. It's not the way markets work. We don't all sit around waiting for what Trump is going to tweet. That's just stupid. And it's unfortunate because uh, there is a tweet, there is a market movement, and all you got to do is just sit there. People think this, that you have to sit there and wait for Trump to tweet something, and then you trade accordingly. And a lot of people get screwed up like that. You know, they think that's the way trading is, and that's the problem. That's the big problem. That's the big problem. They think this is trading, and that's why you have all these people that are advertising now all over YouTube, social media. Learn how to invest. Learn how to trade. Right? That's a classic topping um, signal. Right? Remember gold? Gold's real money. I have Australian gold. Remember that? Same thing now. So another reason why you shouldn't be all fucking bullish and shit. It doesn't jive. It doesn't jive. 20 minutes left to go in the session. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback, right? The erection. Oh. Yeah, ES used to move, yeah, 10 points in a day. Yeah, 100-point swings in a minute. Yeah, of course. Of course. Remember, price is an advertisement, right? Price is what you pay, value is what you get. And all these experts, the market is a forward-looking indicator. Yeah, it's a forward-looking indicator. Right, okay, yeah, forward-looking. Sure. Remove all that stimulus, remove all that QE, unleash $7 trillion worth of uh, bonds back out into the market, and then we will see how much of a forward-looking indicator the stock market is. Sure. See, everybody likes to say that, oh, well, QE, it's just placebo. Okay, placebo, unwind it. Do it. Go ahead, my friend. I want to see the unwinding. Well, it's not. We don't have to. Well, It's not what I'm asking you to do, right? Unwind this shit. You can't. You can't. You crash everything. So it's not a placebo, is it? Not a placebo. Any other tweets for the day? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing good. It's placebo. Right. There was an IATA. IATA is the governing body of aviation, sort of. And they claim that there's only 44 cases of coronavirus confirmed uh, from air travel. I don't know how true that is. Maybe true, but I think it's very difficult to to verify that. For example, you look at the flight attendants. The coronavirus among flight attendants is the same as it is for the rest of the population, right? So you don't know if they contracted it before or after or how they classify it. I'm not sure about that. I have talked about in the past how the HEPA filters help. The fact that the air is changed every 2 to 3 minutes inside the cabin helps. Um, how the air comes in from the top and exhausted out the back from the bottom. There's many benefits in being an aircraft versus a building that changes the air every 30 minutes, right? The negative part of air travel is when you go to the toilet. Okay, that's where the virus would spread. But if you do a rapid testing prior to getting on the aircraft, then you greatly minimize that risk. So overall, um, aviation is definitely uh, safer than it is walking into a building. Nobody gets tested when they go to the bathroom before, in a building, right? But you know, the amount of time that you spend inside an airplane. If you're going to be in an airplane for 2 hours, with all these conditions, the chances are of you catching coronavirus in an airplane are very low. Yeah. Mike says, let's short it. Trump calls the top. Oh, man. Mike, you're right, buddy. uh, everything is wonderful. Market is going up. Yes. Yes, more stimulus. All right. So, another 15 minutes left to go in the trading session. You know, up to the last minute, I don't trust anything, right? Anything can happen. Um, so we'll just wait to see if anything funky happens. Somebody says something somewhere. It's so funny that, you know, uh, the fangs, they open up at all-time highs. It's just all-time highs. Sorry, uh, above the structure, right? Gap ups. The professional, the professional gap, as they call it, the professional gap. All the professionals know and it popped up, and then you go right above the structure, and off you go. I'm telling you, if this does turn out to be the M pattern that we're looking for, where everybody thinks everything is going to be great. Oh, look, we're going to all-time highs. Buy, 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 and then you get that M pattern. You get that, you know, rollover. And once that rollover comes, who's going to sit here and be like, no, no, this is time to buy. Look what happened here. No, 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 it's time to buy. And man, they squeeze them the fuck out. Ho, 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 ho. It's going to be beautiful. By the way, I am out of all my trades, if anybody's wondering. I don't make the trades public here, only on my Patreon, but I am not involved in anything right now. And if this were to roll over, I would consider going short the market based on the M pattern. NYSE is only up 0.6% for the day. SPI. Yeah, here's these are the gap ups I was talking about last week. Let's talk about them a little bit, right? A lot of this trading occurs in after hours, right? I'll just clone it. Oops. Right? Gap, gap, gap. Doesn't allow anybody any time to come in and buy. Okay, so we've had since October 6th, one, two, three, um, four gaps. Fascinating, huh? And if we did the volume weighted average, let's do it in the S&P. Okay. Since the drop, move it over a little bit. Okay. Not a lot of volume up here. Not a lot of volume. Right. Big drop off. So we didn't do the daily 63-day moving average. Okay, 63 days is what it takes for a fund to put on opposition. And as you can see, it broke a little bit below it, popped up, and has not looked back ever since. Um, Nasdaq popped below, inverse head and shoulders, off it went. Okay. Small caps, same. Fangs, same. Transportation, same. Let's look at the Q's volume profile. Yep. See, even in the Q's, massive, massive drop off in volume. Disregard the black line. This only applies on a daily. Oops. What am I doing? All right. All right. All right. 9 minutes left to go in the session. So the bias for tomorrow continues to be to the upside on any pullback. So what we'll probably get is some kind of a consolidation to the trend line here. Okay, could look any which way. So we'll expect something like this tomorrow. Okay, I'll leave it up here so when I do the video tomorrow, you guys can see it, and we'll see how much more this can push higher. Okay, so anything on a pullback, not that I'm suggesting that you trade this, but definitely do not short it. Um, the bias will be to the upside. I'll take this off because I don't know if that's going to break out or not. But in this sense, I'm talking about everything is biased to the upside. It comes up against this support area either through price or time. The bias is to the upside. Okay, so that's the analysis for tomorrow. And the Nasdaq, S&P, pretty much the same. This is the line. You see how this was tight, 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 and was supposed to fall apart? Did a pop, a drop, and then a pop, and then continue higher. This is particle market, okay? So when I talk about particle markets, this is what it looks like. And again, a lot of the things I'm saying is for the new guys. The old timers have been with me for years. You guys know this. You can say it yourself. Any questions going into the close? Anybody? Anybody? Let's take a look at the fangs. And again, this is very hard to chart, but yeah, expect more upside. As long as it remains above this line, everything is to the upside. And this is just arbitrary. This is guessing, huh? This don't think. Well, this is what I think is going to happen tomorrow. This is what you should trade. It's not what I'm saying. My target. My target. All right, 5 minutes left. Let's get this over with. Let's see what else Trump is going to tweet tomorrow or tonight. This is a good chart. I was bitching back here in 2000. I went bearish September, October 2019, and it was all bunched up like uh, as you can see here. And all the perma bulls were like, "Oh, everything is great, everything is fine, don't worry about it, everything is great." Yeah, okay. Well, so what are we seeing now is what we've seen in the past. Okay, that there is that the spreads are starting to um, from being bunched up, they're starting to widen out. But as you can see, the widening out of each bond yield is not as pronounced as it was in previous recessions. Okay, and again, it has to do with excessive amount of deficits. Oil, I'm going to be bullish on that. Okay, a lot of noise, right? Popped down, popped up. I'm going to remove this because it's just noise now. It's useless. All right, so near this support area or somewhere in here, anywhere near this support is biases to the upside. Market. Now, the fact that we are testing it more often than we did before, okay, is a clue, right? So keep that in mind. 2 minutes left. All right, guys, thank you for joining. I'll be on tomorrow. I'm not sure how my schedule is going to be tomorrow. I might do something in the morning. I'm not sure. But uh, I could come on live if something else happens, even in the middle of the night. So, thank you for joining. Uh, anything uh, that I can do to help, I will. If you have any questions, ask them, please. I'm not sure how long I'll be doing this live. How many weeks or days? All right. Okay. Anyway, don't forget Real Macro, patreon.com/RealMacro. Come on down, subscribe. And that's it for today. Thank you, guys. Take care. Sayonara. Alabubu. See ya.